This feels like a very strange thing to say and to be talking about, but I do miss my wheelchair. And it's weird, I feel almost like a mix between shame and guilt when I say that. Like, I feel guilty for saying it, but I can't be the only one that feels this way. Hello, my name's Max and I am chronically ill and disabled, and I used to do I? I don't even know how to talk about it really. I spent a couple of years using a wheelchair. I am/was an ambulatory wheelchair user. What does that mean? That means a wheelchair user that can walk. I made a video, which I'll link up here, about some of the reasons why people might walk with a wheelchair, and specifically why I use my wheelchair when I can walk. Just a brief history: I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome and possibly fibromyalgia as well. There's a bit of argument in the medical community about whether you can have EDS and fibro, because fibro is unexplained pain, whereas EDS is an explanation for the pain, but it doesn't explain all the pain. Somehow I have a diagnosis of fibro, and I have been told I have EDS 3 times, but nobody has actually written it down in my records, because that's also another video which is on my channel. But to manage the pain and to get along with my life and not spend forever just in bed wallowing, I decided to use a wheelchair for my chronic pain, and it was wonderful. Also sounds weird to say, but it was a very important step in my medical management, and to make sure that I could actually, do my degrees and finish and do life things and leave the house. Recently, because of the pandemic and just better healthcare for me personally, I have not needed to use my wheelchair in at least 12 months. And I kind of miss it. I do kind of miss it. I still have it. I don't think I will ever get rid of Betsy. She is very important and very helpful, and at least not now, I'm not ready to get rid of her. But I miss her. I miss using her. I mean, I guess before I even clarify this, I just want to say that I am massively privileged to be in this position. There are so many people who cannot say what I'm about to say. They cannot stop using their wheelchair. They cannot even get out of a wheelchair. And I'm very privileged in the fact that I can say, yeah, I miss it, because there are terrible things about being in a wheelchair, which I will definitely talk about in future videos. This isn't that. And I'm very privileged to not be ill enough to need it every time I leave the house anymore. And I am not in any way saying that I miss being that ill, because I don't. I'm very fortunate and very happy that I can now just get out and do things, and that my body works a little bit more. Whether this is because of the pandemic and I haven't actually needed to go anywhere, or whether it's actual improvement, it's still a massive privilege. So why do I miss my wheelchair? My wheelchair is, I don't know what tense to use, but it made me feel more secure than my legs ever have. So when I was out in my wheelchair, I would know that I had it, that I was safe, near enough, that if my pain spiked, it would be fine because I'd have my wheelchair, and yes, okay, I still might need to go home, but it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. I wouldn't be making it worse by walking home. It was definitely a security blanket of, okay, well, I'm out. If I'm a bit more ill, I'll be okay because I've got my chair, I can sit down, I can stop whenever I want. Whereas when I go out on foot, I don't have that. I take a little fold-up stool with me, but it's still not a wheelchair. It doesn't move. So I can sit if I need to sit because I still have parts. But it doesn't get me home safe. And my legs might not get me home safe. And my wheelchair always did. It was definitely a security blanket because I could just go out and be like, yep, okay, I'm out of my wheelchair. And yeah, there would be fatigue, there would be inaccessibility. There was so many things that I couldn't do, and I don't miss that aspect of it. I really don't. You obviously can't pick and choose the good and the bad bits. But I miss the security. So when I'm going out now, when I'm walking somewhere, there's always in the back of my mind of like, what if my hip goes, what if my knee goes, what if my pain spikes, how am I going to get home? And I almost like don't trust my body enough to get me home if I need it, which is depressing to say. I have some issues, I should probably work through them at some point, but it does make me miss my wheelchair because I didn't have that insecurity that I currently do with my legs. And currently my legs have not actually let me down since not using the wheelchair. So in the last 12 months my legs have not let me down, but still kind of, I don't know, insecure, I guess. And yeah, I used my bike as well. My bike was a sort of an in-between. My bike is mobility aid for me. I will talk more about it, probably. It was also weird. I had a day where I went from my wheelchair to riding a bike the next day, but I really needed to be somewhere and I couldn't walk that far. It's a whole thing. I also miss the wheelchair basketball side of it because team sports was great. I was never really sporty growing up, but that's sort of in part because I was in pain. And now I don't use my wheelchair. Wheelchair basketball is kind of gone for me, and that was a good hobby. Especially when I started the channel, I was like, yeah, I play wheelchair basketball now, so I can make basketball content. And then I didn't need my wheelchair and was unable to join a team. And obviously you don't need to use a wheelchair to play wheelchair basketball, but it helps because, the next point, I have lost all of my upper body strength. It has gone. Look at this. This is tense. There is nothing there. I used to have, like, they were not huge. I'm not trying to say, yeah, I was ripped, but I had functional upper body strength. I could hold my own in an arm wrestle. I did 4 push-ups the other day. I've been injured for a week and a half. I used to be able to do push-ups attached to my wheelchair basketball wheelchair. And now I can't even do 4 just normal ones. And that's also really bad for my joint mobility, my joint stability, because my shoulders need the muscle to stop them from popping and grinding and dislocating and subluxing and all of those things. And I don't have it anymore. And it just makes me also feel like I look ill. So I went from using my wheelchair all the time and having tiny little stick legs because there was no muscle usage there, to the complete opposite where I have legs, don't have any arms, and I don't like looking ill. As weird as that might sound, saying I miss my wheelchair, but I don't like my body physically looking ill, and I feel like I do when I don't have any arms. Like, I just look, I have body issues, I think. We've established that, you've noticed, I've noticed, this is my acknowledgement. Now I can't open jars and things, and my grip strength is all the way down, and it's not good. It's really not good. I also miss having a visible disability, because I think I've talked about this somewhere else, but like being invisibly disabled is difficult because you sort of lose access and lose sort of the right. I mean, you still have the right, but like accessible seating, people are like, oh, why do you need it? I'm like, oh, I have a chronic illness, I live with chronic pain. And they're like, oh, you don't look ill, but in the wheelchair I kind of avoided that. And just like having all of these like access was a bit better. There was less judgment, so if I went to use the lift, it was obvious why I was using the lift, whereas now on foot people say like, oh, do you really need to use the lift? I'm like, yeah, kinda. Having that extra bit of visibility was very helpful, and I missed that. There are other aspects of my disability that are visible, but not as much as the wheelchair. and it's fun. I'm sorry, it is. Downhill, especially uphill, not fun, don't like. Downhill, great fun. I struggle with walking, full stop. I struggle with walking downhill and downstairs. Those are very difficult for me. They cause me quite a bit of pain. And I just feel like I can't walk with control while going down a hill. Whereas I can wheel down a hill with full control, and it's a lot of fun and it's quick. I like the speed. I miss my wheelchair, and those are kind of the reasons why. And I have some things to work on, quite clearly. But I just wanted people to feel some solidarity if they're feeling like this. I've spoken to some people privately that have said this. I don't think I've seen anybody publicly say this, so I'm doing it. Be kind to me. Because I'm not in any way saying that like, oh, I miss it, so I'm gonna go out in my wheelchair just for funsies. Like, no. Just because I miss it and I'm gonna go take up all of this space, because the world is not built for disabled people. So I am never ever ever going to get in my wheelchair and get on a bus if I'm not having a day where I need my wheelchair, because only one person can get on the bus in a wheelchair at the same time. And even when I definitely needed my wheelchair, as in could not have done my day if I hadn't been in my wheelchair, I felt so guilty when another wheelchair user needed to get on, but they couldn't because I was there. And that was when I needed it, so no way am I ever going to do that when I'm not having a day where I need it. Like, it's not for fun. No mobility aid is just there for fun or nostalgia. Like, that's not a thing. That's not the situation. I'm going to sit and work on my issues, and hopefully I will never get to a point where I need my wheelchair to the extent that I did. I don't mind the odd day here and there, but on a daily basis it was really difficult, and I don't miss that part. But this is also not me saying that I don't need it anymore, because I probably do. My illness goes up and down and up and down and up and down, and even in the pandemic I've had ups and downs and ups and downs. They've just been less noticed because I've not had to do anything or go anywhere, or I've been able to reschedule because I was working from home a lot, and then when people weren't going on holiday I obviously wasn't cat sitting, so it didn't matter. And I've not really noticed, because I still work from home, I still cat sit, but that's getting on a bus and getting off the other end. It's really fine. So I've not noticed the difference, so I might still need it. If and when I get a job or a PhD, I will find out whether a 9 to 5 will put me back to needing a wheelchair more or at all. We'll see, but I hope that I can keep making these improvements, and that I can just work on my issues and be like, yeah, I don't miss my wheelchair at all. Get rid of it, maybe. I just miss how safe it made me feel, but there was so much that I couldn't do when I was in it. So much inaccessibility. I will talk more about inaccessibility another day because I don't want to talk forever. It just made me feel so much safer even when I was feeling at my worst. That's it. End video. Don't forget to like this video if you found it helpful, if you felt the same, if you were interested. Drop a comment down below if you have thoughts. Let's have a chat about it, because why not? Subscribe to my channel for more videos about chronic illness, mobility aids, disability, deafness, queer stuff, all of those behind me, druidry, etc. And ring that notification bell so you get notified every single time I post a new video. Videos go up every Saturday at 6 PM UK time with at least one bonus video every single month. See you!